Hey, Mark.
How you doing? Good.
Aaron's got his speech teleprompter, is it? He's gonna, oh, just record it. Oh, he's got to actually have it memorized. He's got the teleprompter.
Good morning, everyone. If I could have you take your seats, please. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could take your seats, please. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Bon matin, tout le monde. My name is Mark Butler, and I am the Director of Communications with Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority. Thank you all for joining us here today as we launch the Gordie Howe International Bridge Community Benefits Plan. But first, before we do that, cell phones, please, if you can put it on vibrate. Today represents the culmination of many years of consultation with Windsor and Detroit communities. And I would like to personally thank our stakeholders, the community groups and individuals, many who are with us here today, for their input and their partnership. I'd like to particularly welcome the City of Windsor councillors Jim Morrison and Rito Bortolini, Joe Comartin, our Council General of Canada to Detroit, Chief Mary Duckworth and Councillor Stan Scott from Caldwell First Nation, Councillors Ron Soni and Amy Johnson from Walpole Island First Nation, LaSalle Mayor Mark Bondi, and Members of Parliament Brian Massey and Cheryl Hardcastle. And of course, our guest speakers who I'll be introducing later. So thank you again for being with us today. Today's event is being streamed live, and I'd like to welcome those of you who are watching online right now. I invite all of our guests, both here and in person and those who are watching on the live feed, to join the conversation online. Now, one of my younger members of people in the office, which is frankly everybody in the office, told me I had to do this. So don't forget to tag us and use the hashtag. I was once a Boy Scout, that meant something else, I'm not too sure. Community benefits and the hashtag Gordie Howe Bridge. Each of the guests this morning received a media package like this, and on your tables you have the community benefits plan like this. The media package includes news releases and backgrounders, also some quotes from our stakeholders. And all these materials, as well as the presentation that you'll see a little bit later on, are now available on our website, GordieHoweInternationalBridge.com. For the media present this morning, we also have a flash drive containing 5 videos. These you can use freely, and please, I encourage you to use them freely. They include a lot of B-roll and some additional information about our community benefits plan. Our agenda today includes a number of speakers who will be making remarks as well as a presentation, and at the conclusion of the formal portion of our event, we'll be taking questions from the media. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker representing the Governor of Canada. Please welcome Marco Mendocino, Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Infrastructure and Communities.
Good morning, everyone, and to Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, my federal colleagues, MPs Massey and Hardcastle, our Consul General to Detroit, Mr. Comartin, my friend and colleague, Mayor Drew, representatives from the state of Michigan and the city of Detroit. What a great day, and I'm not just saying that because the Raptors won last night. That's right. We the North. I had a good chat with Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, and I asked him, I said, you know, do you play basketball? And those of you know him, he stands about 6'8". And he said, yes. And I said, you know, what did you think of last night's game? He said, you know, I was rooting for the Raptors. And then he told me that he actually owns a white jersey Vince Carter vintage one. So that just shows you the strong Toronto-Detroit connection right here today. So thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for your friendship and for your support of the Raptors. Let me begin by also acknowledging that we are on Indigenous lands, and we are so grateful to the First Nations here for sharing these territories with us and allowing us to start off this beautiful day in the right way. It's an honor to be here on behalf of the Government of Canada and Minister Champagne, and even though I'm a Toronto MP, my roots to Windsor go back some 20 years. I went to school here. I met my wife here, we got married here. Because of my in-laws, we are back here all the time. And so today is not just a government announcement, it's personal. And whenever we get to come back here and we get to have a significant milestone date like today, it's not only about the economic opportunities for the region, it's about the strong people-to-people ties that exist between our two great countries. And as we're going to talk about, this is also, in particular, a historic day for the communities of Sandwich Town and Delray. Today we're building on the historic groundbreaking ceremonies of last July and October when the construction phase of this project officially began. I was there along with our Prime Minister to help break ground on both sides, and what a thing it was to see. And now we're marking the next significant milestone in this partnership with the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority and Bridging North America by unveiling the Community Benefits Plan for the Gordie Howe International Bridge. This plan is the culmination of a two-phase, 4-year consultation exercise which was fostered by open dialogue and engagement with residents, stakeholders, businesses, community groups on both sides of the border. Over this period, 70 meetings were held in which more than 1,000 stakeholders participated. And following these engagements, more than 230 submissions for community benefits were put forward by you, by the residents, by Indigenous peoples, business owners, and municipal leaders. So let's take a moment to applaud those wonderful contributions. Coming out of this process were many important priorities which then began to shape the plan. Local workforce and training, limiting the disruption to communities, community safety, aesthetics and landscape, and regional and economic and community benefits. And I want to sincerely congratulate not only the members of the Bridge Authority, but our builder, Bridging in North America, for the intensive effort that they had put into this consultation effort. I also want to thank the chair of our board, Dwight Duncan, Bryce, who you'll hear from shortly, the folks at the City of Windsor, the City of Detroit, and the State of Michigan, all of whom have played a critical role in achieving today's success. But most importantly, I want to thank the community and the people for bringing forward your ideas and your passion. The Gordie Howe International Bridge will provide a long-term, wide-ranging boost to Canada-US trade and commerce and strengthen our economic ties. The bridge will support businesses in getting their goods to market, helping them thrive, and it will positively impact the flow of travelers and daily commuters who cross our border. With today's announcement, both Canadians and Michiganders will begin the path of enshrining a direct benefits framework for local communities, including Sandwich and Delray. And both Canadians and Michiganders are going to benefit from the 2,500 jobs which are going to be created out of this project, and that too is something we should applaud. The strategy has two components, one of which is a workforce engagement strategy, as well as a neighborhood infrastructure initiative program. And I know that the input that has been put in through this consultation process is going to help improve the quality of life. whether it's through the improvement of aesthetics and landscaping, through partnership with our local businesses and artistic community to ensure that every voice, every single voice is heard in making this project a reality. Because in order to make it a success, we have to listen to our communities, our Indigenous peoples, and everyone, and that's what today is about. I'm so proud to be here. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Mr. Mendocino. And now, speaking on behalf of the state of Michigan, would you please welcome Michigan Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is a really exciting and momentous occasion, and there are so many people to thank and acknowledge for making today possible. This has been yet another milestone in the long and fruitful and prosperous relationship between the state of Michigan, representing the United States, and Canada. This is something that is very personal for many of us, as you just heard referenced earlier, and something very personal for me. So yes, this is my first international activity as Lieutenant Governor of the state of Michigan, and frankly, I thought I would travel a little bit farther for my first trip. Like, I can see Windsor from my house. When I was a kid, there were two things that I could see from my bedroom window. One of them was the red light flashing on top of the Renaissance Center in downtown Detroit. And the other were the lights of the Ambassador Bridge. I've been gazing across the Detroit River to our neighbors to the south, and thinking about what the possibility was if we found more ways to connect our people. And it's exciting to be here at this moment, to stop and check in on how we are benefiting people on both sides of the bridge with this important and tremendous project. It's a great accomplishment to not only the leaders who are at the negotiating table, but also to the communities that they represent. So I want to thank everyone for their hard work. We know that this historic project is going to create thousands and thousands of jobs. It's going to keep an open flow of trade and partnership and relationship with our largest and most important trade partner. And this also will strengthen ties with our neighbors. But just as this bridge will further solidify the ties between two great nations, this community benefits plan will bring communities together toward a common purpose. Many of us have seen the renderings of the Gordie Howe International Bridge spanning the entire width of the Detroit River. But it's not what's at the end, it's what's at the end of each side of the bridge that really, really matters. We all know that a bridge needs a strong foundation and structure to hold it up. That's exactly what the communities on each side of the bridge represent. After several years of close collaboration, of yes, some complicated conversation, we now have understood that in the Southwest Detroit community, it's clear that home improvement, funding for small businesses, new bus stops and transportations to and from the community health centers and social service centers are priorities. And we listened, we learned, and we responded. That is why these and so many more initiatives proposed by the community are funded by the Gordie Howe International Bridge project, included in the community benefits plan that you're going to hear more details about today. This is about enabling the possibility, opportunity, and imagination of every person who lives on either side of this bridge, and to create the strongest foundation for future collaboration and prosperity going forward. So I want to thank the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority. I want to thank the government of Canada for their ongoing commitment to the project and to the people of Michigan. When the Gordie Howe International Bridge is complete, it will be another symbol of the more than 200 years of peace and prosperity shared by two great nations. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here representing the state of Michigan, and I look forward to what we're going to build together next. Thank you very much.
Move it down. My biggest fear today is that I would say Lieutenant Governor, The correct is Lieutenant Governor. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Would you please welcome now two members of the community from Canada and from Michigan who've had significant engagement. Please welcome Stephen McKenzie, President and Chief Executive Officer at Windsor-Essex Economic Development Corporation, and Dr. Cassandra Montgomery, Executive Director of People's Community Services of Metropolitan Detroit.
Thank you, Mark. Merci beaucoup. Good morning, everyone. Parliamentary Secretary Mendocino, Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Board of Directors and staff of the Windsor-Essex Economic Development Corporation, I'd like to convey congratulations to the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority and Bridging North America, the teams that engaged the Sandwich neighborhood and developed a very thoughtful, comprehensive, and impactful community benefits plan related to construction of the Gordie Howe International Bridge. The plan lists some exciting initiatives for Windsor-Detroit over the next 5 years. And not only will this plan cover improvements to the surrounding neighborhoods, but it's all, as has been mentioned, it will provide opportunities for our local workforce and add to the economic benefits the bridge will bring to our area. When the community benefits initiatives are implemented, they will support future business growth and create even more opportunities in our communities. And the Windsor-Essex Economic Development Corporation is honored to join the WBDA and Bridging North America as a delivery partner, and we look forward to participating in delivering program and services. Again, congratulations on a plan that so accurately addresses the priorities of the communities that will be the most impacted by the project on both sides of the river. Thank you. Merci.
Good morning, everyone. You notice how the microphone is getting shorter and shorter. So, I'm the Executive Director of People's Community Services, and we're located in Delray, part of Southwest Detroit. So 4 years ago, our agency was invited to be at the table with the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority to discuss the social and environmental impacts the bridge construction would have on Southwest Detroit region. This journey of building the Gordie Howe International Crossing is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for many of us. We are embarking upon a historical journey of exponential economic prosperity, jobs, revenue for the people residing in both countries. During the last 4 years, I've witnessed the WDBA's genuine interest in resident and stakeholder concerns in the Southwest Detroit area. The WDBA was deliberate in establishing rapport, gaining trust and knowledge to understand the population most affected by the changes prior to and after the construction of the Gordie Howe Bridge. The WDBA and Bridging North America listened to us. They maintain open lines of communication with the residents and businesses through community leaders, stakeholders, community meetings, we had access to the website for updates, and they also established space in Southwest Detroit to have the community members have better access with questions. Not only that, what impressed me was that the WDBA and Bridging North America met separately with stakeholders and businesses in order to become more knowledgeable about businesses in the neighborhood in terms of uniqueness, distinction, cultural values, and beliefs. So the Board of Directors of People's Community Services, our staff, and the people we serve would like to express our sincere gratitude with the WDBA and Bridging North America for their contributions and concerns about residents in Southwest Detroit. so that future generations will someday become leaders and productive citizens of our nations. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen and Cassandra. So, this is what you've probably been waiting for. We'd like to provide details of the Gordie Howe International Bridge Community Benefits Plan. As I mentioned earlier, this presentation is now available on the project website, GordieHoweInternationalBridge.com. Would you please welcome to the stage Stephanie Campo, WDBA's Director of Stakeholder Relations, and Mark Merrimead, Communications Manager with Bridging North America.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's very nice to see so many people here that we have been meeting with. I joined WDBA in 2015 in October, and on my first day I was told, you need to run a consultation event next month. And that really started the ball rolling, and it really has not stopped for the past 4 years. So I see many familiar faces, so I'm very happy to see you here. You played a very large role in the development of this plan. I see many faces that I've recently become acquainted with over the last 6 months as we've worked out the finalization of the plan. And I see some new faces here as well. We anticipate continuing the dialogue, and we will be continuing the engagement and the consultation as we move forward through the plan. I'd also like to comment on thanking the Mexican Town Bakery. Some of you may be aware that Heather and I and WDBA staff are responsible for consultation on both sides of the border. And I think for the last few months we've been back and forth, and I quickly learned that as long as I brought churros back from Mexican Town Bakery, my kid did not care how long I was gone, as long as I had that little white bag full of great sugary treats. So something to keep in mind for those of you who have to go back and forth. So as I mentioned, when we started the process in 2015, we really had an empty slate, and it was very important to us that we engaged this, we approached this plan with a very educated and informed process. So one of the first things we did was really to define what community benefits means. If you Google it, you'll find many different things, many different definitions, and really it depends on where you're located. So for us, what we identified was community benefits are identified opportunities that can advance economic, social, or environmental considerations for the local communities. And as well, it was important for us to identify the host communities. So we wanted to make sure that those community benefit opportunities really had the strongest input or impact on the areas of Delray and Southwest Detroit and Sandwich and Windsor. Based on this, we did develop a vision for community benefits for the development of the plan, and that vision will extend through the implementation process, and that is to deliver a series of initiatives based on public input that create measurable and positive results-based opportunities for the host communities of Delray and Sandwich. So to help us develop this, we had a few guiding frameworks. One was the crossing agreement that was signed by Canada and the state of Michigan in 2012. As well, we identified a framework that we called the iCare framework, and this was really the framework that all initiatives that were brought forward by the community were evaluated against, and also the 3 submissions that were part of the RFP were also evaluated against that. So iCare stands for integrated. The community benefits needed to be an integral component of the project that was being carried out during construction and also operations. It needed to be collaborative. We wanted to make sure that it reflected the input of the host communities and to be delivered through partnerships. It needed to be accessible, which meant it needed to be easy to understand, regularly measured, and also publicly reported. And it needed to be regional, reflecting the character of the region, specifically tailored to the unique needs of each side of the border. And as well, it needed to be enterprising. So considering new methods, ideas, and innovative approaches to engage and benefit the neighboring communities. So we embarked on this 4-year process, running from 2015 to 2018 during the first phase. And this phase was really established by WDBA and the state of Michigan. Together, we held numerous focus groups, we held public quarterly meetings, we engaged in online activities, we held stakeholder meetings, both with larger groups and also one-on-one. We also accepted ideas through direct correspondence or by phone calls to our office, and also through social media. And what these tactics resulted in was more than 230 unique ideas that were provided from members of the community, and these included residents, businesses, schools, First Nations. Basically, anyone living in the area was providing input into it. And what these 230 ideas really organically fell into were what we considered 5 streams. And they were local workforce and training strategies, limiting the effects of construction and operations, community safety and connections, aesthetics and landscaping, and regional economic and community development opportunities. And based on these, we identified these as the 5 community priorities. We also heard during that 3-year time that people wanted an additional opportunity to provide input into the plan before it was finalized. So we actually added a second 6-month consultation period that began after financial close and ran from September 2018 through March 2019. And in the past 6 months, and many churros, we held more than 70 meetings on both sides of the border. Met with more than 1,000 stakeholders. And we also ran an online survey, understanding not everyone could make it to either a community meeting or one of our offices or events. Those surveys were also available in hard copy at various locations in Southwest Detroit and also Windsor to make sure that people who didn't have access to the internet also could have their voices heard. The initiatives that we're sharing here today are those that best reflect the priorities and needs that were identified by the Windsor-Detroit region during the last 4 years, and specifically through the Sandwich and Delray communities. This truly has been a community-driven plan. So the plan itself has 2 components. The first is a workforce development and participation strategy that's geared toward engaging businesses and focusing on supporting workforce. And the second is the neighborhood infrastructure strategy that focuses on collaborating with stakeholders and community members through consultation to develop a community investment strategy based on identified priorities. The neighborhood infrastructure strategy has a separate $20 million investment for $10 million on each side, and we'll walk through some of those initiative highlights in a moment, but I will ask Mark Merrimie to join me to discuss the workforce initiatives.
Thanks, Stephanie. We met a lot of great people during this consultation period, and I recall one cold evening in January where Stephanie and Heather and I met with Dr. Montgomery and the board of directors from PCS, and we broke bread with them, and the bread was actually pizza. It was really good pizza. And so let me know where you got it after we're done here today, please, Doctor. Collectively, we have more than 80 initiatives under workforce development and participation. We will be implementing them to ensure that Windsor, Detroit, and Canadian Indigenous peoples will have opportunities for employment and also to provide goods and services to the project. These initiatives focus on ways to engage the following entities, the general public and stakeholders, elementary and secondary schools, and I want to add here, this is where tomorrow's engineers and designers and construction managers and skilled tradespeople are really going to get their start. This is where we get in front of them so they have an interest in participating in the type of work that people can do on this project. We're also going to work closely with post-secondary institutions, with subcontractors, unions, vendors, and workforce development agencies. Now, there's a full list of initiatives available in the Community Benefits Plan that's at your table and also will be provided on Gordie Howe International Bridge.com. So I'm only going to touch on a few of those to give you a sense of the activities we have planned. For training and education opportunities, we will be partnering with apprenticeship organizations and local unions. We'll provide English as a second language training support. We will partner with educational institutions to provide co-op and work placement opportunities. For Indigenous peoples opportunities, we will explore business partnership opportunities. We'll implement a First Nations policy, and we will commission local artists to create community art and murals. To ensure Windsor and Detroit residents and Indigenous peoples are aware of employment opportunities, we've established a goal that subcontractors hire at least 20% of new hires from this region. We will identify and select pre-apprentices and apprentices for the project, and will enhance awareness among community and employment groups of the project and the skills that are required. And to ensure Windsor and Detroit businesses and those owned by Canadian Indigenous peoples are aware of business opportunities, we will be hosting business-to-business information sessions. We provide an online system that gives them the opportunity to submit information about their capabilities and their capacity. And will foster growth of small companies by emphasizing the importance of purchasing goods and services under $25,000 in value. To deliver these initiatives, WDBA and BNA, Bridging North America, have identified delivery partners, and they have the required skills, knowledge, expertise, and capacity to help us do the job, do it quickly, do it right. More than 40 agencies and organizations will help us reach Windsor and Detroit residents and Canadian Indigenous peoples, as well as businesses owned by Windsor and Detroit residents and Canadian Indigenous peoples. And I want to close by saying we've got great interaction with all of these groups. They are in place, they're ready to go, and each one has a keen interest in working with us to make opportunities available to individuals and businesses so they too can benefit from this very unique once-in-a-lifetime project. So now I'll turn it back to Stephanie to go over more about the neighborhood infrastructure improvement.
So delving into the initiatives that were included in the neighborhood infrastructure strategy. So as I mentioned, we began with 230 unique ideas. Those ideas were shared with the 3 proponent teams during the RFP process, and each team identified a number of those initiatives for inclusion in a community benefits plan. During phase 2 of the consultation process, we further refined those ideas down, and those were really the topics that were consulted upon during the last 6 months. So a number of those made it into the final plan. They may not have looked the way that they did in the beginning, but we are confident that the initiatives that have been put forward are more reflective of the community needs and also reflect what we have heard from the community as a whole in the last few years. So again, it is a $20 million investment, $10 million Canadian on each side, and these initiatives will be delivered through starting 2019 through 2025. There are 29 initiatives in total for implementation in Windsor, Detroit, and also Walpole Island First Nation. So there is a very comprehensive list of all of the initiatives in your plan. However, to save time, because you don't want to be here all day, we will just highlight some of what we're considering to be the signature investments in each of the 5 priority areas. So I will follow through with the Canadian initiatives first and then the US initiatives. So in Canada, in aesthetics and landscaping investments, we will be investing $2.75 million in this priority area. We heard very much about the importance of protecting the environment and specifically the lands that are adjacent to the Canadian port of entry that are home to many forms of wildlife, including several species at risk. So we will provide $1.5 million in seed funding to the City of Windsor to launch the development of an eco-passage to be built over Ojibwe Parkway to help the movement of animals from Ojibwe Park to Black Oaks Conservation Area and also the Detroit River. In the priority area of community safety and connections, we will be investing $2.13 million. For this, one of the key things we heard in 2015 was to allow people to ride their bikes and walk across the bridge. We did identify that as a project requirement in 2016, and we further heard the need for making sure that that path connected into adjacent trails and connections. So we will be working with the Ontario Ministry of Transportation to explore ways to connect the Canadian Port of Entry Trail to the Right Honourable Herb Gray Parkway Trail system. We will also be working with the City of Windsor to establish a trailhead for cyclists at Malden Park using the Matchett Road parking lot. So several amenities will be added to that to allow people to freely bring their families, they can park there, bring their bikes, and make their way across to Detroit or vice versa. We also heard from many that this is a significant piece of infrastructure that's being built, and it doesn't happen often. So we heard a lot from people who want to come and watch the construction. And while we are happy to support that, we don't want them on the construction site for obvious reasons. It would be unsafe. So we will be partnering with the City of Windsor to build an observation platform at the top of Malden Park that will allow safe access for students, residents, and tourists to view ongoing construction of the Gordie Howe International Bridge project. And this platform will include things like wayfinding signage within the park, benches, binoculars, and a photography area. We heard a lot from people who want to take selfies, so we're trying to accommodate that. In the priority area of community partnerships, we're investing $1.47 million. We will be providing $1 million to Walpole Island First Nation to assist in the expansion of its existing recreation center in partnership with the YMCA. And as well, we heard a lot about the importance of community investment for organizations. We heard from many different agencies, many associations, and they came forward saying, you know, we run this event, it would be great if you could support us on an annual basis. We only need $1,000. We heard from others who said, you know, we run this programming, we could really appreciate funding. Rather than us trying to figure out how to cherry pick this, we will be providing or launching a 5-year, $250,000 fund that will be available for agencies, organizations, and associations based in or providing services to Sandwich and West Windsor. This funding will be available for 5 years, starting in 2020, and $50,000 will be available each year in the form of grants ranging from $1,000 to $25,000 to support programming, events, and small infrastructure projects. Additionally, we will also provide a 5-year investment of $200,000 to the Prosper-S program, which provides cradle to career support to ensure all residents of Windsor-Essex have opportunities for success. In the area of economic benefits, we will be investing $850,000. We heard a lot about what we should be doing. People had very specific ideas about economic opportunities relating to the bridge. We heard you should make sure there's somewhere for people to go and buy ice cream when they come off. Ice cream is a big thing for people crossing the bridge. So if there are any budding entrepreneurs out there, I'm just saying you might want to consider to start scoping out some property, and that applies to both sides. So we will be investing approximately $850,000 in several initiatives. One of the key initiatives is what we're terming the Sandwich Business Development Program. So we will be working with key community organizations to support the development and implementation of a business acceleration workshop series for businesses located in or interested in locating in the Sandwich area. A key feature of this will be what we've called the Sandwich Summit, to help future, new, and existing businesses develop strategies and approaches during different phases of the project, and it will include experienced speakers and panelists discussing business district development, operations during construction, and taking advantage of tourism opportunities. Another initiative in this area is the investment in St. Clair College's culinary program by investing in a mobile food truck business that will be located near the Canadian port of entry that will allow for hands-on learning experiences for students in the culinary and business programs. We anticipate that truck will be up and running and available to supply lunches during the construction phase. Moving into the U.S. highlights, in the U.S. area of aesthetics and landscaping, we will be making a $5.34 million investment. And you'll notice that for some of these initiatives, while the themes remain the same on both sides, and some of the initiatives actually mirror each other on each side, there are also several initiatives that are very specific to the unique needs of both Sandwich and Delray. In Delray, $4 million of this $5.34 million will be used to support a community home repair program. And this was identified through numerous meetings and direct requests and submissions from Southwest Detroit residents, businesses, and other stakeholders as the most important initiative that could be implemented in the area. Based on this feedback, we will issue an RFP later this year to identify a delivery partner that will help us launch a repair program to help residents adjacent to the port of entry, and further consultation will be undertaken to support this initiative. In the area of community safety and connections, we will be investing $1.33 million. Similar to Canada, we will be investing in cycling and pedestrian trails in the area of the U.S. port of entry. Another initiative within this area that occurs on both sides is the launch of a bike rack design contest. And this contest will be open to residents and artists on each side of the border to submit ideas for fun yet functional bike racks that will be placed in locations near each port of entry. In the area of community partnerships, we'll be investing $695,000. Similar to Canadian feedback, we heard a lot about the importance of supporting programming, especially in the area of Delray and Southwest Detroit. So as such, we are pleased to support programming and infrastructure improvements at Delray House, operated by People's Community Service. And this programming will target area youth through educational and recreational activities. So I'm very pleased Dr. Montgomery is here today to represent People's Community Services. We will also launch a 5-year $250,000 fund that will be available for agencies and organizations based in or providing services to Delray or Southwest Detroit. So this fund will operate very similarly to the program that is being initiated in Windsor. In the areas of economic benefits, we'll be investing $285,000. An exciting initiative that will take place on both sides of the border within this area is the Windsor-Detroit Cross River Tour. And this initiative will create an international walking and cycling tour highlighting the unique culture and history of the Delray and Sandwich communities through plaques and interpretive signage to be installed at key locations along pedestrian and cyclist routes on Jefferson Avenue and adjacent to the U.S. port of entry, approaching the bridge. A similar plaque and interpretive signage system will also be installed in Canada, adjacent to the Canadian port of entry and along Sandwich Street. So theoretically, you can start on one side of the border and really learn about our shared history as you spend an hour or so making your way to the other side. As you can see, these initiatives for both Windsor and Detroit will involve many community partners during the implementation phase, and we're looking forward to working with these partners on making our communities better places. I'm so thankful that so many of you were able to join us. It is important. We have more than 30 delivery partners that are helping with all of the initiatives, the 80 workforce, and also the 29 neighborhood infrastructure strategy initiatives. So it really is heartening that so many of you were able to take the time out today to join us. As we move forward, we do anticipate continuing consultation and engagement, and it is likely that there will be additional delivery partners added to the list as we move through the implementation phase. During implementation, we did hear a lot about reporting and oversight from the community. People were concerned about how that would occur. WDBA, as well as the state of Michigan, will be directly involved in the delivery of the community benefits plan with stringent oversight to ensure the commitments outlined are achieved and reported on. Bridging North America will implement, fund, and deliver all of the initiatives that are included within the plan. As well, we heard a lot about transparency and public reporting. So there will be quarterly public reports during the implementation phase that are posted on our website. And we will continue to report on those in a more comprehensive annual package as well. I'll also note that a local community group will be formed over the summer, with the first meeting being held in fall 2019. And this local community group will play an important role during the implementation phase by providing feedback and input during that implementation phase for the several initiatives. This group will be comprised of 16 Canadian, 8 Canadian and 8 Americans to form a group of 16 who will meet with us on a quarterly basis. So the Community Benefits Plan is only one aspect of a host of integrated benefits that the Gordie Howe International Bridge will bring to the area. As a result of the incorporation of community voices into the overall project agreement, the host communities will experience significant improvements, creating a network of benefits and incentives to be leveraged by the greater region. And we look forward to meeting with you, eating pizza, according to Mark, and churros for me and my family, as we move forward in the implementation of this plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie and Mark. And I'm glad that Mark mentioned the pizza with our council gentleman here so that he does not think there is a trade imbalance with churros going one way and nothing coming the other. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome at this time Drew Dilkins, the mayor of the city of Windsor.
Well, good morning. All this talk of pizza, ice cream, churros, what have you guys got for everyone in here? Because you're going to have a lot of disappointed people if you don't have something good on the way out. I am delighted to be here. And I'm delighted to be here, and I think of 2003. Do you remember what happened in 2003? Jean Chrétien, our then Prime Minister, drove across the border about a mile away, met with President Bush, and over in Detroit they said they're going to build a new bridge. And for a decade and a half, the process of government happened at multiple levels, federal, state, provincial, city as well. And you know all the trials and tribulations in between. And then 4 years ago, a new federal government was elected. And many of you heard the same words at that time that I heard. Forget your bridge. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be built. And there were doubting Thomases in the community, thinking that this would be the first project to get pulled because of the cost. And then in October of last year, there's no better way to say a bridge is going to be built than to have your Prime Minister come to your city, meet the governor of the state that the bridge is going to join, and put a shovel in the ground, and the bridge is moving forward. And then people looked at the cost and they said, boy, this bridge is probably a little more expensive than we anticipated it was going to be. Guess what? You guys can forget your community benefits, because that's $20 million they're going to suck back and go to fund other projects related to the bridge. Forget your community benefits. And we called Minister Sohi, and then now Minister Champagne, and said absolutely not. We're absolutely fully committed to community benefits as part of this project. And today we stand here and we're getting, both communities are getting the community benefits that you fought so hard for. I don't want to reiterate everything that's already been said. I recognize there's a lot of speakers, but I do want to talk just briefly about the partnership between the City of Windsor and the WDBA, and be thankful for that partnership and express that thanks on behalf of the city. And certainly you've heard some of the projects that will be delivered to both communities, and those projects will provide great benefits to our city, particularly to the Sandwich area. And as all of you know, Sandwich Town is the oldest part of our city. It's where Windsor began, frankly. And so to see the benefits go to Sandwich Town is absolutely incredible. And this process was both comprehensive, the process was consultative, multiple stakeholders were met with, and you heard of 70+ meetings with over 1,000 participants with churros, ice cream, and pizza. And it was, all of that feedback was taken. And what was clear to me, what was very clear to me, is that the WDBA heard what the community was saying and that they responded accordingly. And the plan covers all areas from workforce development to community development and many exciting projects, as you saw, in between. And there's a few people I want to thank. I want to thank our federal government. Marco is here, the parliamentary assistant, to the Minister of Infrastructure. Marco, thank you to the federal government, thank you to the Minister for making sure that community benefits were part of this project. It didn't have to happen, but you made sure it was, and we're very thankful that you did. I also want to thank the WDBA, and I want to thank Bryce Phillips and his entire team. And who's part of the WDBA here? Who is a member of staff? The WDBA, all of those folks. All of those folks and many more that aren't here played an important role in making sure that this day happened, and these community benefits are going to happen in both Windsor and in Detroit. And I also want to thank, and I see many faces, community groups and folks in our community here, I want to thank each and every one of you because you came forward with great ideas. Many of you contacted my office, you contacted Detroit, you contacted the United Way, you contacted the WDBA. You went through and you said, here's what we think we need to make our community better. And it wouldn't have happened but for your efforts. So my thanks on behalf of the city to all of you. And finally, I just want to say we are very excited. We are very, very excited to get this Gordie Howe Bridge built. I just drive by there as often as I can. I will go to this platform with my kids to overlook. I told the Lieutenant Governor, I said, we're in areas as flat as a pancake, so we chose the highest garbage dump we could, and we're going to build this platform on there so everyone can see. But I'm going to take my kids there and my wife there, and we're going to enjoy watching this bridge we built because once in a lifetime, this is this opportunity in front of us now. Thank you to the WDBA for everyone who's played a role in getting us here today. I look forward to seeing the bridge built and all of those community benefits built in Windsor, Detroit for the benefit of our two great nations. Thank you very much.
And again, I lower it. Thank you, Mayor Dilkins. And now I would ask, representing the City of Detroit, Haley Savage, Senior Advisor and Counsel to the Mayor for the City of Detroit.
Well, thank you. And it is a real honor to be here today representing Mayor Duggan and the City of Detroit. The reason it is such an honor is because this is a transformational project. This bridge physically will transform the skyline. It will be a new jewel between Windsor and Detroit, between our two countries. It is going to turbocharge the economies of the region and on both sides of the border, thousands upon thousands of new jobs. And with the community benefits package announced today, it is going to transform the quality of life for people in the neighborhoods on both sides of the border. In the city of Detroit, it is going to transform people's lives by giving them needed housing assistance, fixing their roofs, their furnaces, this everyday stuff that matters to people in the community. It is going to green the streets, and we are going to build a more colorful and vibrant Southwest Detroit with participation from local artists painting murals in the city. But equally transformative is the way in which this process was conducted. You've heard from everybody that stood up here before me about how many meetings over how many different types of food were had to really come up with a community benefits package that worked for residents. This is not a plan that was hatched in some boardroom or a municipal office or a state office or a federal office. It came from the bottom up. This is what the community wanted. They were engaged authentically. And I think that by doing that, not only do we have tremendous buy-in, not only are we really going to transform the lives in a way that matters for people, but we've also set the gold standard here for how a community benefits process should be run. And what better and more appropriate way than to do that on a project that is going to be the symbol of cooperation and trade and connectedness between these two great countries. So I want to thank, on behalf of the mayor and on behalf of the city of Detroit, everybody that has worked on this process, from the government of Canada, the state of Michigan, WDBA, the folks that sat for years in hours of meetings with members of the community and the communities themselves that came up with this transformational benefits package that is really going to change lives. I echo what the mayor of Windsor said. We just can't wait for this bridge to be built. We can't wait for the future that is going to usher in here to come. It cannot come fast enough. This is an incredibly exciting day, and thank you again on behalf of the City of Detroit.
So please join me in welcoming our final speakers today, Aaron Epstein, Chief Executive Officer of Bridging North America, and Bryce Phillips, Chief Executive Officer of the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today on behalf of Bridging North America to talk about our role in the delivery of the community benefits plan for the Gordie Howe International Bridge. As you may know, WDVA mandated a very comprehensive community benefits plan that was part of the Gordie Howe International Project, and it's to be delivered by Bridging North America's team. A plan that's going to have a positive impact on the communities in both Windsor and Detroit, both during the construction phase as well as during the operations phase. The Bridging North America's team is comprised of a world-class group of individuals. It's a team of international firms. We perform work in Canada, in the US, and internationally. We also have a lot of local experience and a lot of local knowledge. We've gained a lot of that in the past months that we've been here, as well as the years that we've been part of this proposal effort. We have world-class transportation experience. We've got a proven ability on both cable-stayed bridges as well as buildings, and in addition, a lot of highway infrastructure projects. A lot of that team is here today, so if you want to just raise your hands, you can see where we all are over there and around the room. And as well, we've been out in your communities as well, so you've probably seen a lot of us, and you'll certainly be seeing a lot of us even more in the future. Our team has significant experience in the delivery of community benefits programs. Bridging North America recognizes the importance of partnering with local communities, the local resources, businesses, the stakeholders, the associations, unions, First Nations, and educational institutions for the Gordie Howe International Bridge project. These partnerships are going to strengthen the local economy. They will create training opportunities, they will create 2,500 jobs, and they will ensure the success of the project during its design, construction, and operation. In addition to partnering with local businesses, Bridging North America is working with the Canadian and U.S. unions to establish a framework to employ a local skilled labor force. The Community Benefits Plan will ensure opportunities for local workforce development and training on both sides of the border, and we will leverage existing resources to maximize those opportunities for the people of Windsor, Detroit, and the First Nations. I would like to thank all the community members who have been out there tirelessly attending all of our meetings that we've had, the countless meetings, all of the long, hard hours and hard work that they've put in to identify the priorities to make sure that they've been included in the community benefits plan. I'd also like to thank the WDVA and the Bridging North America staff who have helped formulate that plan and put it all together. Now, one thing that wasn't on that plan, but I did hear it in some of those stakeholder meetings was, can you bring a championship? Done. Now, that's not just talk, but Kauai used to play in Texas. One of our corporate headquarters for our partners is in Texas. Gasol, Spanish, one of our partners, corporate headquarters there. And another one is located in the Toronto, greater Toronto area, in their backyard for the Raptors. So you're welcome. Detroit, working on it. Now, Bridging North America is proud to be part of the Windsor-Detroit region. We've got a lot of people here and a lot more coming, and we're very proud to deliver the positive and lasting impact on these communities in Windsor and Detroit, the areas in which we live and work. I want to thank you for your time. Hand it over to Bryce.
Thanks, Aaron. How's that for teamwork, delivering a championship? Not bad at all. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Look at our energy. I know it's been an hour. So I'm going to go off script just for a minute. I know Heather and Mark are just going to, don't do this, but for a moment. So to the Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist and the Parliamentary Secretary, we'd
Mendocino and Mayor Dilkins, thank you for the kind words you said about the Bridge Authority. I know staff here are very dedicated and they appreciate that recognition, so thank you very much. Earlier in the talk you heard about Governor Gilchrist and Parliamentary Secretary talking about this being personal. It is personal to them and they shared that a little bit with you. This is personal for the Bridge Authority. Right? Most of the people here live and raise their families in Windsor. This bridge they'll be able to talk to with their grandkids. It's a personal journey for these people. The team is in front of us here on my right. You saw them raise their hands, but this is something that's important to the Bridge Authority and to the staff. It is a personal project we're dealing with. And same with Bridging North American Partners. This is personal to them. And you may say, well, why is that? Well, they have moved to Windsor, a lot of these folks. They are here in the community. And this is their reputation. Right? They build their companies based on reputation. It's personal. So this is the kind of dedication you have coming to the team to do this project. It's personal to these people. And it's the same with the community members. Right? The great involvement with everybody to build this communication and community benefits plan. Heather, Mark, Stephanie, and their team, talk about 1,000 stakeholder meetings and groups over 4 years. Do the math. So how many evenings and weekends have they put in to deliver this with the consultation from both sides of the border? Right? It's personal for the state of Michigan. Right? For the folks that work through the governor's office and through the city of Detroit and Delray, they live there. It's personal to them. So it's a large team that's dedicated to delivering this project. And I'm looking for Susie, but I don't think I see her. Oh, there she is. So what's the saying? Failure is not an option. This bridge is happening. It will be built. So that's what you have behind you to deliver this project. So I joined the Bridge Authority just last July. I've had the pleasure to witness some of the pivotal milestones in the story. And it's really started off with the financial close announcement last October. Today I'm pleased to take part in this significant journey here with the Community Benefits Plan. And it's for the folks that live close to the bridge. The personal part to me, born, raised, educated in Windsor. Both my parents grew up in Sandwich. And my mom's side of the family goes back 150 years. So this is a special personal project for me. Community benefits are an opportunity for local communities to leverage infrastructure investments and to provide social, economic, and environmental benefits. Simply put, community benefits create jobs and a better local community. The Gordie Howe International Bridge Community Benefits Plan is uniquely ambitious, and it's a result of a significant consultation process. It's intended to set a new benchmark for major infrastructure projects. The plan's initiatives, designed so that people located most directly in the shadow of the new bridge, will be the ones that have the truest benefits. The plan is designed to connect communities, connect them to opportunities for improved quality of life, and connect them to each other. The staff from WDBA, from Bridging North America, and the state of Michigan have consulted and collaborated with communities on both sides of the border and have developed this vision for the future. This consultation took place for almost 4 years, starting in 2015. An additional 6-month targeted consultation period was implemented following financial close last October and carried on to March of this year. During the second phase of consultation, more than 1,000 stakeholders and community members, they were involved in over 70 public meetings, focus groups and one-on-one meetings, and in excess of 400 responses were also received in our online survey. So this extensive consultation effort underscores our desire to get the community benefits plan right, to ensure that it reflects the regional priorities and that it's been identified by community members and stakeholders. So I'd like to thank the team members of WDBA, Michigan, and Bridging North America for their hard work over the past few years, especially over the last few months. Very well done.
Their work demonstrates that the team behind Gordie Howe International Bridge project is committed to being a good neighbor. As well, I'd like to thank the communities of Windsor and Detroit for their dedication, their willingness to engage in dialogue, and to hold us accountable to provide a meaningful community benefits plan. This plan has been developed with partnership in the community, so for those members of the community that are here that participate, thank you very much. So we at the Bridge Authority and BNA, we are committed to continuing on our engagement and empowerment of the communities to be part of the delivery of this project, both now, during construction, and in the years ahead during the operations phase. This project will bring many benefits to Windsor and Detroit and beyond, and WDB looks forward to continuing what is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and undertaking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, like the project itself, the Community Benefits Plan is a result of community members, agencies, and governments coming together to identify a vision of the future. The initiatives identified through the plan represent additional social and economic benefits provided directly to the local communities. In fact, through the plan, the bridge is providing more than a transportation option at Windsor-Detroit Gateway. It's connecting communities. Today, coincidentally, WDBA is partnering with the United Way Windsor-Essex and participating in a day of caring. And our staff will be sweeping through the streets and parks in Sandwich, weeding, washing windows, picking up garbage, and recycling later this afternoon. For those of you who have joined us remotely, I'd like to thank you for your interest in the Gordie Howe International Bridge project, and we invite you again to join the conversation online. I understand, if you saw me looking at the different monitors over here, we are literally blowing up with the social media. Don't forget to tag us and use the hashtag community benefits and hashtag Gordie Howe Bridge. And we invite you all to attend our upcoming community meetings on June 25th in Windsor and June 26th in Detroit. Details of those public meetings where you can hear more about community benefits are available on our website right now. This concludes our briefing. To stay up to date on the project and the Community Benefits Plan, I encourage you to follow us on our social media accounts, which are here. And for our guests in our room, I invite you to enjoy some refreshments while we provide the media in attendance an opportunity to ask them questions. Thank you for joining us today. Merci de vous joindre à nous aujourd'hui. Bye-bye. I would ask our guest speakers if you could assemble in front of the podium. We'd like to take a few photos.